Okay, what we're going to take a look at now is introducing SignalR into our application so that we can do a couple of different tasks. And our main goals here is to deal with an online presence so that other users can see who is online. And we're also going to deal with messages as well. We want to be able to send live messages between users, and we'll also look at notifying a user when they've received a new message from another user if they're somewhere else in our application. But what we're going to do is we're going to start as simply as possible with this, and we're going to create a new folder inside our API called SignalR. And inside here what we'll do is we'll create a new class, and we're going to call this one Presence Hub. And inside here what we need to do is derive from a hub. And this is a SignalR class that we're deriving from. So we don't need to install SignalR, we don't need a NuGet package for this, it's included with our project, and we can go ahead and make use of this. So inside our hub, if we just press F12 and take a look at its metadata, then we've got a couple of methods that we can override here. These ones that are virtual, this means that we can override them. And we've got an onConnected async, which is called when a new connection is established with a hub. And we've also got an onDisconnected async. So what we're going to do is just override these two methods so that we can do something when a client connects to our Presence Hub. And what we'll do is we'll just add a couple of methods inside here to override what we just looked at. And we're going to say async task. And we're going to say onConnected async. And what we're going to do here, we just need to bring in system threading tasks. And what we're going to do here is we're going to say await. And inside a hub, we have access to the clients. These are the clients that are connected to this hub. And what we're going to do here is send the message to all of the others. So this is everybody except the connection that triggered the current invocation. So we're going to send to others, and we're going to use the send async method inside the hub. And we're going to say user is online as the name of the method that we use inside the client. And then what we'll do, we'll just say context and user, because we have access to the context with our token inside, and we can get the user, and then we're going to say get username. And this is what we'll pass back to the other users. So we'll use API extensions to bring this in. And what we'll also do is we'll add another method in here, and we'll say override async task, and this one's going to be for the onDisconnected async. And this one has a required parameter which we need to pass in for the exception. So we'll pass in exception, and we need to bring this in from system, and we'll just call it exception. And inside here what we'll do, we'll say await, and then clients, and others, and we'll say send async, and we'll say user is offline, and we'll say context.user.getUsername, and we'll pass that back to the client. And we should call this exactly what the method is called inside the parent class. So this is onDisconnected async, not onDisconnect async. And what we'll do, if we do have an exception, we'll just pass that up to the base, so the parent class. So we'll say await base, and we'll say onDisconnected async, and we'll pass up the exception here. So this is our first hub. Now what we also need to do is add the SignalR service to our application. So what we'll do, we'll go across to the startup class this time. And what we need to do in here is say services, and we're going to say add SignalR. And what we also need to do is tell our routing about our API or our hub endpoints. So what we also need to do in here is say endpoints, and we're going to map hub, and we're going to specify our presence hub. So we'll say presence hub, and we'll need to bring this in from API SignalR. And what we do is give this the root. What root is this presence hub going to be accessed from? Now we're going to have more than one hub, so I'm going to say hubs/presence in this case. And this takes care of setting up our first hub. What we also need to do is take care of authorization, because our hubs are also going to be authenticated. We don't want to try and get a username if a user is not authenticated, for instance. So we'll also take a look at how we deal with authentication in SignalR. And we'll take a look at that next.